Hey my friend, your head's up to this 5-minute quickie. Lowering the bar that you set yourself, and you'll achieve more. Which seems a little bit counterintuitive, doesn't it? But it depends how high you set the bar beforehand. And there's a real problem in what we normally set as a target for ourselves, which I think always leads to the emotion of failure, because we know there's only feedback and never failure. Failure always means feedback. But if we're going to set ourselves up for this emotion of failure, then we're never going to achieve. So have a little listen to how you can set the bar at the right level and realize you can win every time. Have a listen after this.
This is Personal Development Unplugged with Paul Clough.
In simplicity, there is genius.
In simplicity, there is genius.
Hey, I want to talk about, muse in this 5-minute quickie about, do we do enough? We talk about, am I enough? Am I good enough? Do I do enough? And that's the thing. Do I do enough? And I think sometimes we can be so critical of ourselves. We certainly wouldn't be as critical to our best friend if they were setting a set of goals and they weren't quite reaching them. You'd encourage them, wouldn't you? You'd encourage them. But I think with ourselves, either we don't even question and review what we've done. And that's like living in a little vacuum, isn't it? And we're just not getting anywhere. But that's not personal development, is it? That's not why you're here. That's not why you're here to learn and to muse and think and grow and stretch. And it is that stretching. But sometimes I think we just set the bar too high. We overestimate what we can do in the short term, in the day. We forget about the things that will come along, the things we have to attend to, the things that we aren't aware of. But I think we have to be careful that we don't set the bar too low and we just waltz around and think we're doing great, because there's a lot of people believe in their own hype, isn't there? Oh, I'm doing great, I'm hustling, I'm bustling, and yeah, you're not really. So what can we do about it? Well, I think it's great to review. Great to review the things that you've done well. So at the end of the day, maybe just before you go to bed, go to sleep, you review the things you've done well. And that's good. And you might just ask the question, did I do enough? Did I do enough? Because enough's enough, by the way. If enough is you've set the bar at the right level and you achieve that, you've done enough. And yes, some days you might do slightly more. Some days you might do slightly less. But it's when we set our bar so low. So I think when we review that, the day that's gone by, maybe the week that's gone by, but I like to do it just before we go to sleep and review the day. Feel your successes. Feel the emotion of the little wins you've had, what you did well. Because I guarantee you, when you do that, it will bring up the things you didn't do quite so well. And then maybe we didn't quite do enough in a particular area. Now, instead of berating yourself and bringing that down and bringing all that negative energy and destroying everything you just thought about, the good stuff, just think to yourself, well, how can I do it better the next time, tomorrow? How can I do it a little bit better? What do I need to improve on? What do I need to stop doing that if I stop doing, it would allow me to do enough in the day? Or what have I got to start doing that I'm not doing? And then start to improve the day. And sometimes if you just ask those questions as you go to sleep, it gives something your unconscious mind to do while you're resting, healing in that natural sleep. So when you wake up in the morning, well, you suddenly feel inspired to do something, or you get that intuitive action that you do something that, there we go. But I think sometimes we don't really look at the bar that we set. Just make sure. You see, here's a tip. This thing about overestimating what we can do in the short term. Think about, well, if that's what I'm setting myself, if I got 80% of that, just 80%, would that be enough? Not less than 80%, but if I got 80% or just a little bit more, would that be enough? And what is 80%? Because I guarantee you, if you can get 80% of all the things you aim for, you are going to be smashing. You're going to be in the top echelon of achievers. And that seems like counterintuitive, but I'm not doing enough. But you're probably doing enough consistently. It's like that walking uphill, rushing around. No, getting consistent results. And that I can guarantee. The other guarantee is, and we've talked about it before, that 80% will grow, not into 85%, but that 80%, if you look back, say, a couple of weeks after you've been doing it, it's a lot more than you were capable of doing then. Your 100% has grown, therefore the 80% has grown, and you're achieving more. And you're doing it consistently without, you're getting, and when you review, you go, do you know what? I did do enough. I did do a little bit more. And you feel good. That's another win, another good feeling. And you build on those successes. And you bring up all the rest. So just enjoy. Make sure you set the bar at the right level. Your expectations at the right level. Your goals at the right level. Schedule them, commit to them, and then just review. Did I do enough? And when you do, we've talked about it before, celebrate these small wins, daily wins. You won't notice it in the day. Maybe won't notice it at the end of a week. But after a while, if you look back, say after a month, you'll notice you are you're just making headway so much more than you did before. All because you're doing enough and you're celebrating those wins. It's like a little bit of everything we've been talking about over the last few episodes. And you're doing it in a way that becomes fun. You're doing it in a way that becomes joyful. You're doing it in a way that you just feel good about life. And that's what it's all about, because what's the point of struggling and doing this stuff if we don't enjoy it? Again, the other guarantee is if you don't enjoy it, you'll probably stop doing it. So let's get those wins under our belt and let's start celebrating, reviewing, and really smashing it. There you go. That's your 5-minute muse. Hopefully it resonates somewhere in you. And it may reinforce what you're doing now. It may guide you to think about, well, maybe I could do a little bit more. Maybe I'm just setting too high a goal. It's totally unachievable, because a goal has to be achievable. Has to be achievable. Because if it's not achievable, you're just setting yourself up for, I know there's no such thing as failure but feedback, but you're setting up yourself for the emotion of failure. And we don't want negative emotions. We want positive emotions that drive us forward, pull us forward. Not push us, pull us forward. Okay, that's your 5-minute quickie. Enjoy. Have a muse. And I'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye now.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.